Good day everyone, we are the Group 4 and we are about to report the speech of President CORAZON Aquino. Before we start, sino nga ba si CORAZON Aquino? Her full name is Maria Corazon Sumulong Cuangco Aquino. She was the 11th President and first female President of the Philippines. She was born January 25, 1933 in Paniquitarlac, Philippines. She graduated from the College of Mount St. Denis in New York in 1953 with bachelor's degree in both French and mathematics. Her father was Jose Cuangco and her mother is Demetria Sumulong. President Corazon Aquino started her term on February 25, 1986 to June 30, 1992. Corazon Aquino was the most prominent figure of the 1986 People Power Revolution, which ended the 20-year rule of President Ferdinand Marcos. She is also a self-proclaimed plain housewife. She was married to Senator Benigno Aquino Jr., the staunchest critic of President Marcos. She emerged as the leader of the opposition after her husband was assassinated on 21st of August in 1983. Upon returning to the Philippines from exile in the United States, Aquino was diagnosed with colorectal cancer in 2008. She is highly regarded with the international diplomatic community as the mother of democracy. She died on 1st of August in 2009. Content of the speech: suffering of Benigno Ninoy Aquino, candidacy of Cory Aquino as President, foreign debt, alliances, gratitude of President Cory Aquino to US. The situation of that time: our country is 7 months free from the martial law era that lasted for 14 years. And we have a democratic government and have an economic state of the Philippines. The intent of the speech is to declare the freedom of the Filipinos from the Marcos regime, to mark a new beginning for the Filipinos and to its government. Before we start the speech of President Aquino during the joint session of the United States Congress, I'd like to share to you the purpose of Corazon Aquino's speech. It is to inform the people of the world on how she and the whole Filipino nation felt about his late husband. September 18, 1986, 7 months since Cory became president, she went to the United States and spoke before the joint session of US Congress. She was welcomed with a long applause. She took the podium and addressed the United States about his presidency and the challenges faced by the new republic. Started with her speech with the story of other living with the US and prior as a newly widowed wife, Ninoy Aquino.
3 years ago, I left America in grief to bury my husband, Ninoy Aquino. I thought I had left it also to lay to rest his restless dream of Philippine freedom. Today, I have returned as the president of a free people.
In burying Ninoy, a whole nation honored him with a brave and selfless act of giving honor. A nation in shame recovered its own. A country that has lost faith in its future found in a faithless and brazen act of murder. So in giving, we receive. In losing, we fight. And out of defeat, we snatch our victory. She pointed out in this statement that heroism and death of Ninoy Aquino concealed embarrassment Philippines have been facing. She is talking about $26 billion. She also shared to her speech about how his husband died and how she encouraged the Filipino people to fight against the Marcos dictatorship. She talked of the 3 times that they lost Ninoy. The first time was when the dictatorship detained Ninoy with the other detentors. Cory continued that when Ninoy survived the first detention, he was charged of subversion, murder, and other crimes. He was tried by a military court whose legitimacy names Adam Clay questioned Ninoy. Decided to hunger strike for 40 days, solidify his protest. Cory stated that this is the second time their family lost Ninoy, and the last time they lost Ninoy was because he's dead.
Report. The government sought to break him by indignities and terror. They locked him up in a tiny, nearly airless cell in a military camp in the north. They stripped him naked and held the threat of sudden midnight execution over his head. Ninoy held up manfully all of it. I really did as well. For 43 days, the authorities would not tell me what happened to him. This was the first time my children and I felt we had lost him. When that didn't work, they put him on a trial for subversion, murder, and a host of other crimes before a military commission. Then he challenged his authority and went on a fast. If he survived it, then he felt God intended him for other fate. We had lost him again. For nothing would hold him back from this determination to see the past through to the end. He stopped only when it dawned on him that the government would keep his body alive after the past had destroyed his brain. And so, with barely any life in his body, he called off the past on the 48th day. God meant him for other things, he felt. He didn't know that an early death would still be his fate. Not only timing was wrong. At any time during long ordeal, Ninoy could have made a separate peace with the dictatorship as so many of his countrymen had done. But the spirit of democracy that inheres in our race and animates this chamber could not be allowed to die. He held out in the loneliness of the cell and the frustration of exile. The democratic alternative to the unstable, green, and mindless liberty of the right and the purging hold cause of the left. And then we lost him, irrevocably and more painfully than in the past. The news came to us in Boston. It had to be after the 3 happiest years of our lives together. But his death was my country. Resurrection in the courage and faith by which alone they could be free again. The dictator had called him a nobody. 2 million people threw aside their passivity and escorted him to his grave. And so began the revolution that has brought me to democracy's most family home.
In her speech, she mentioned that Archibald Macleish had said that democracy must be defended by arms when it is attacked by arms, and by truth when it is attacked by lies. And he failed to say how it shall be won. That's the time Cory knew that she helped to do something for her country. Do not look for his husband dead being vain. Philippines left. Last September 18, 1986 was the first visit of Corazon Aquino in the United States after the dictator Ferdinand Marcos was deposed in February. She is wearing a formal yellow dress and confidence. Cory Aquino visited America and gave a speech about the state of the Philippines. She expresses her concern about the debt of the country, which amounted to $26 billion during the Marcos regime, in which the total amount of foreign debt resulted to $26 billion. Cory honored the debt even though this debt did not benefit the Filipinos. The dictatorship brought calamity-level experience to the Filipinos, yet no assistance was yet to be extended to the Philippines. According to Aquino, the revolution in the Philippines is the most cheapest among all. Alliances and relationship to America. Aquino said to his speech, "Join us, America, as we build a new home for democracy, another heaven for the oppressed, so it may stand as a shining testament of our two-nation commitment to freedom." Dialogue said about cooperation and the strengthening of the friendship between U.S. and the Philippines.
Speech of President CORAZON during the joint session of the U.S. Congress, September 18, 1986. Ito po ang kanyang mga sinabi. "We face a communist insurgency that feeds on economic deterioration. Even as we carry a great share of the free world defenses in the Pacific, there are only two of many burdens my people carry even as they try to build a worthy and enduring house for their new democracy that may serve as well as a redoubt for freedom in Asia. Yet, no sooner is one stone laid than two are taken away. Half our export earnings, $2 billion out of $4 billion, which was all we could earn in the restrictive markets of the world, went to pay just the interest on a debt whose benefit the Filipino people never received. Still, we fought for honor, and if only for honor we shall pay, and yet should we have to wring the payments from the sweat of our men's faces and sink all the wealth built up by the Boltzmann 250 years of unrequited toil. Yet, to all Americans, as the leader of a proud and free people, I address this question. Has there been a greater test of national commitment to the ideals you hold dear than that my people have gone through? You have spent many lives and much treasure to bring freedom to many lands that were reluctant to receive it, and here you have a people who won it by themselves and need only the help to preserve it. 2 years ago, I said, "Thank you, America, for the haven from oppression and the home you gave Ninoy, myself and our children, and for the 3 happiest years of our lives together. Today, I say, join us, America, as we build a new home for democracy, another haven for the oppressed, so it may stand as a shining testament for our two nations' commitment to freedom." Para sa akin, the need to make our democracies more important and sensitive should never be a reason to give up their principles and values. Instead, encourage us to look for opportunities to make it better. From our fight for independence from Spanish rule more than 100 years ago, to the People Power Revolution in 1986, Filipinos have shown their love for freedom. It is what binds us as a people. It is what defines our hopes and aspirations. It is our defense against the restoration of tyrannical law. And more importantly, it is commitment to democracy that has brought our two nations, the United States and the Philippines. Corazon Aquino was very grateful to America for the haven from oppression. In addition, Aquino stated, "Today, I say, join us, America, as we build a new home for democracy, another haven for oppressed." So it may stand as a shining testament of our two nations' commitment to freedom, means of the invitation for America to unite with our country for having the same objective, which is nation's commitment to freedom. Thank you.
The symbols of Yellow Ribbon: bone cancer, suicide prevention awareness, the Aquino's death, giving prisoners a second chance of life, remembering Black Sunday bushfire, kind of fatal acceptance, and Demetrius' hidden soldier support.